Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Hi there. Thank you very much for inviting me back on. Much appreciated.
You are absolutely welcome. You are always welcome to come on the channel. And thank you. It's been a while since you and I have spoken, and thank you so much. I know a lot has happened. And of course, you're incredibly busy, as we all are, doing all kinds of magic with Electroneum. Do you just want to, just very in a few sentences, just give a recap of the whole Electroneum project?
Bitcoin, the best money we've ever had. With a different kind of money comes a different kind of card. A metal card, powered by crypto. Every time you spend, you get 3% back instantly. Want more? We've got that too. Don't like fees? Neither do we. How about these perks? The future is here. Reserve yours now.
If you like, I'll try and get it into a nutshell. Cryptocurrency launched in 2017. The idea of it was to be more usable than the other cryptocurrencies that were out there at the time, and still is more usable than any other cryptocurrency in micro payments and for the unbanked. The concept was it all runs from an app, so it's very, very easy to use. There's no delay times in terms of confirmations like there is with Bitcoin and things. So people could go to a street vendor, use some of this, and walk straight away with their food or their drink or whatever it may be. And the idea was that it was supposed to be entirely accessible without exchanges for the unbanked of the world. And that's what we've pretty much achieved. We obviously, things have to have a real value in the world. And so to give it a real value, we have partnered up with, not allowed to say partnered, but we've teamed up with companies that enable us to buy airtime and data. So 140 countries in the world, you can buy airtime and data. We have utility top-ups and things coming. And then because the unbanked of the world can't buy cryptocurrency on an exchange, they don't have a bank account, we have another platform called anytask.com, which enables people to sell their digital skills for some ETN. So, I mean, this sounds very simplistic, but it's taken a long time to put together. It's one of the only true cryptocurrency ecosystems on the planet. We've got hundreds of thousands of transactions taking place that between real people in a place where there were no digital options. So there was no Visa card, no MasterCard, no PayPal, no Apple Pay. None of those things exist, and yet we've got these transactions going on, and we're empowering people. So it's pretty cool, is what it is.
It is very cool. It's been quite a journey, 2.5-year journey, and you've given that period a name that of building the foundation for the business, building the ecosystem, calling it the phase 1, right? Now we're going to talk a little bit about that and go into phase 2. But I want to ask how you and the team are doing, given these interesting times we're living with the coronavirus, the pandemic, and the lockdown. How are you all? How are you working? And what are you planning to do as you ease out?
Everybody's good. It's been a real revelation to me across the 3 businesses that I'm involved in, that actually people work well from home. I've never embraced it. Possibly I'm old and long in the tooth, I'm not sure, but I'd never embraced home working before. I'd had a lot of requests for it. I'd always said, well, I'm not too sure I like everybody to be here so I can be involved and peer over people's shoulders. Not to be what are you doing, but just because I like to be involved in it, especially tech. But actually, people have been nailing it. The staff of all 3 of my businesses has just been amazing. Truly, they have. So when are we going back? I'm not 100% sure yet. It seems like the voices in the UK are suggesting that towards the end of the summer, perhaps people will be starting to return. I know people are starting to return to offices now. Our offices we were quite squeezed into, so social distancing in the existing office space would need some changes. So at the moment, we're going to be sticking to home working, and it's working well. So we're sticking to what we've got at the moment, but possibly gearing over the summer, gearing the offices to slightly more distanced practice. Perhaps I'm not 100% sure. It's not solid yet, I'm afraid.
Okay, and it seems to me like a lot of the team that have been with Electroneum and possibly the other companies, they stayed a while. They stay. Is that accurate?
Yeah. We have very, very, very low numbers of staff turnover. Always have. We've got in both my social media management business and the digital marketing company, we've got people that have been there from the very start. my head of IT that runs across all three of those businesses has been working with me for at least 20 years. I mean, we've got people stick around, and the same thing. The young lady who runs Retortal, the social media management platform. Yeah, she was one of the very first people that my business partner and I ever employed way back in the 90s. So we've certainly had staff stick around. We try to run businesses that are relative. No business perhaps is super fun all day long. Everyone has to get on with things. But if somebody wanted to stop and say, "Hey, something happened to me over the weekend, everyone, and this is what happened," nobody would go, "Hey, why are you talking?" Everyone would be, "Oh, what did you do at the weekend?" And people tell anecdotes and talk about their lives and bring the dogs into work. And it's a pretty good place to be.
With just that excuse me, Richard, I'm sorry for interrupting you, that you've had such low staff turnover tells me something about the way that you run the business, and also about people's commitment and passion to the vision, which I would say translates into Electroneum, on a much, much larger scale, because you've got people involved from all over the world. And I've said this before in a video with you, Electroneum doesn't have coin holders. You don't have coin holders. You have fans, which is something that every business, wants. Apple having fans versus people that just consumers of their products. It's a big difference. So kudos to you.
Well, it's not all to me, of course. I think a lot of it is to the staff that have made it happen, and to the people that are involved in the project, and just the fact that actually cryptocurrency in general just need this nudge along. We've embraced it as part of what cryptocurrency can do, and Electroneum embodies what cryptocurrency had that potential to do for a long time. But it was only being used by the hyper technical, and so we've made it accessible, and obviously people have embraced that.
Yes, they have, and you've moved out. Let's moved out from phase 1 into phase 2. Very imaginatively named, I must say, right? Phase. You did. So let's look at the accomplishment of phase 1. And when I looked earlier before this video, 3.9 million registered users.
Yeah, I mean, it's a figure that gets bandied around. I know. Realistically, they are just registered user numbers. So they are like the users on Twitter that are registered, but some of them are bots. What I can tell you absolutely is that we've got 3 million plus real users, people that are actually humans. So I don't really like the figure 3.9 million. I know that our marketing team desperately want to use it because it's the biggest number. But if somebody said to me, "Can you tell me 100% those 3.9 million people are real?" I would go, no. But we've got 2.5 million app installs, and they're definitely real people. And we have before the app was really live, we'd have had hundreds and hundreds of thousands. In fact, we'd had more than 1 million people had registered through the my.electroneum online wallet system. So I'd say we've got more than 3 million real users in amongst that 3.9 million headline figure. And now the people that are joining are not bots anymore. Right. Because we're coming to the end of that phase. So everything, all the growth you see now, because a few people have said, "Oh, they've only had 8,000 people join now since blah blah." Well, 8,000 people joining a project in the space of a couple of weeks is still an extraordinary achievement. And but what's important is that there's no bots involved anymore, because there's no free value, no free ETN.
Yes, and then the other accomplishments you mentioned earlier, anytask.com, you're on loads of exchanges. And then there's the work that you do with NGOs. And I've interviewed 2 NGOs that you've worked with. Wonder Foundation, who incidentally, one of the staff used to be a social worker where I used to be a social worker in the past. That's right. And also Project Child in Indonesia. And both the people that I spoke of those projects spoke really highly of the difference that Electroneum has made, because they're getting rewards in Electroneum through the proof of responsibility mining, and they're able to spend that to support the work that they do in deprived communities all over the world. So kudos to that. And we are now moving into phase 3.
No, we're not into phase 3. Still phase 2.
Is it phase 2? I can't count. We're now moving into phase 2. That's it. I was being a bit imaginative, Richard.
It's a twinkle in my eyes. Is phase 3. So phase 3 is monetization and full sustainability, which is, I'm not too sure how long that's going to be before we achieve that. So, but that's going to be something else. Phase 1, massive distribution had to happen. Had to catch up the other projects. Had to achieve what I wanted as a vision for the project. I needed a lot of people with ETN, and so we had that massive distribution. Massive distribution has been achieved. Hundreds of thousands of people using Electroneum for things. More than 100,000. One of the triggers for phase 2 was 100,000 top-ups of mobile airtime with ETN. So a significant number in any crypto, indeed. So now I think the number sits at, I don't even know, 145,000. Maybe it's more than that. Have a look on our website. They update it every week. Huge numbers of mobile phone top-ups. More than 300,000 phone-to-phone top-ups. That's a really exciting thing for us as well. So this is, we don't know all of them, but we get the idea that people go up to someone else, they have some value on their phone ETN, and they transfer it with a QR code scan to someone else. Hundreds of thousands of those are taking place. So that means that we've got something here which largely doesn't happen in cryptocurrency. We have velocity of ETN. So if I send someone some Bitcoin for an international payment, Bitcoin is the best thing in the world for me for international payments. I know that they can have a quick look on, they can see it's on its way, confirmations take place, they can cash it back into fiat wherever they are in the world. And it's one hell of a lot easier than sending a bank transfer anywhere in the world. So cryptocurrency solves international remittance problems. But very few people are holding the value in Bitcoin and then reusing it somewhere else. And then that person reuses it somewhere else. It's always this into and out of fiat. And what we've got in ETN is genuinely people holding the value because they have they're unbanked. So they're holding the value in ETN. They're transferring that value to someone else who's transferring the value to someone else who's transferring the value to someone else. It's never really happened before. We have genuinely built one of the very first true cryptocurrency ecosystems that exist. And so, yeah, it's quite exciting. And what's really exciting is we sit in the middle of this. So we can see the metrics. We can see the numbers. We know who it is, what they're doing, not necessarily what they're doing if it's app to app because we don't know what they bought, but we can reach out to them because we know their email address. So we can reach out and say, hey, would you mind telling us what you're doing? And we're doing some case studies on people. We've got obviously airtime top-ups. We know exactly what people have done. So we can see that there's this association with the market that I've spoken about before. So ETN price spikes up by 20%. Suddenly everyone buys their airtime because their ETN is worth a bit more to them. So it's been a really interesting journey, and we're doing things in crypto that other people only dream of, which is awesome.
Okay, all right. So then phase 2, what are the elements and the features of phase 2?
Well, phase 2, we very much know that and it's a very difficult thing to talk about actually in great detail because of some of the things that I'm not allowed to talk about in great detail by the system. But we know that we have to have the crypto market, the crypto community on board, because whilst in theory something can exist entirely outside of the market is what defines its value. And I get into a very dangerous ground just talking about this because of the nature of what I am allowed to talk about, what I'm not allowed to talk about by lawyers. We're on the 20th of this month. I think I thought it had already gone in last Wednesday, but there's a slight delay. Our FCA application goes in on the 20th of this month. 17 days away. So that application is important to us, and being under regulation is important to us. It's important for the project. So talking about things that involve the price of ETN is a very difficult thing for me to talk about, so I have to avoid it.
Sure.
But it's there, it looms, it's there. I can't transfer $1 worth of value from the global north to the global south unless ETN has a value. And that value has to exist somewhere, and that somewhere is dictated by the crypto community. That's how it is. So we are re-engaging for multiple reasons. One, it's time for us to tell the crypto community, which is where ETN was born, just how awesome it is and how really outside of the top handful of projects, top 4 or 5 projects, we've got more users, more real world users than virtually every other currency outside of the top few really. Maybe we're certainly a top 5 by real world use, which is an extraordinary thing to have done in such a short time. But on top of that, we've actually probably our real world use is also outside of crypto. It's sitting with real people. So it's a really exciting thing. So we want to re-engage that market and tell them about it. There are some other reasons as well, but like I say, I just get into this really difficult position to talk about. I can't talk about it particularly. But look, phase 2 is about some token economics. We've come to the end of that massive token inflation phase where we've handed out tokens to get adoption, which we've achieved. So we needed to make sure you can't keep giving something away and expect it to retain a value to move around the system. So that phase has come to an end. And phase 2 is about promoting what we've done, but using the promotion of what we've done to excite the people that can then open doors for us to have more avenues and to give more empowerment to the people on the ground. So at the moment you've heard us talk about 140 countries with airtime top-up. That's live and it's working really well. We've got utility top-up coming with 5 African countries imminently. It's being tested on our development servers. Top-ups have taken place and they've worked well. So I've seen it, it looks good. We've got some anytaskers that are testing it in the live environment. And we have some other things that you're going to be able to buy directly from the ETN app as well. I won't go into them yet because it'll take the fun out of it when we're ready to announce them, but some really, really good stuff coming there. And so those partnerships and deals, and I always use the word partnerships, and my lawyers jab me for that as well, but they feel like partnerships, but they're probably not in-law partnerships. But, you know, those relationships that we have with people where we co-promote and we're helping drive them some new business, and at the same time they're helping us get more real-world value into the ETN ecosystem. They are helped by positivity in the market and by, dare I say it, where they see you in terms of if you listed all the cryptocurrencies down, we quite often talk to large corporates and they say, why would we deal with you? You don't seem very high up the list. Now, we need to be higher up the list for large corporates to take us seriously. Let's put it that way.
Right. Okay. Now, I can completely understand why there's certain issues you cannot talk about for commercial confidentiality, but also because of legal restrictions.
Exactly that.
So,
it's not that it isn't the confidentiality in that case. It's no. I don't jeopardize the project whilst trying to promote
absolutely.
The
Absolutely. So I have to restrain myself as well, right? Because there's no point asking you something which you then can't answer, right? But so what I can get, so phase 1, you're building the foundation of the house, and then phase 2, you want people using it. Come and have a look. Yeah, come and try this out.
So if you
use it, usage.
Everywhere, go to ETN everywhere. You'll start seeing now. I think it's got 1,700 plus places that accept ETN. So